Hey Cooper Cubers, we've got another unboxing today. I've been waiting for this one because it took a little while to get the last video out. I've been very busy with work, but here it is. There is actually, I think, 3 different cubes in here, or semi-cubes, and yeah, it's exciting to see what they're going to be. Let's get this open. Oh yes, look at those beauties. Huh. Interesting. So it seems that we've got a lot more than we bargained for here. Alright, so let's go through them one by one. We've got just a normal 3x3. This is an extremely cheap 3x3, and I want to see what it's like, how good it is, and just compare what Chi's turning on their base cubes, like these non-cubes. I've obviously been testing a lot, and I'm not sure how they turn because I haven't got a lot of experience with other versions or other brands of those cubes, and now we'll be able to see what it's like. All right. Then we've got a 2x2. This is exciting for me as the only other 2x2 I had was quite nice, or at least I thought it was, but then one of the pieces broke off. Not exactly broke, and I can still clip it back on. However, it clips off very easily, and so I can't really speed solve on that 2x2. So we're going to see what this is like. Then we've got a Pyraminx. This is also exciting for me. Pyraminx was the first non-cube puzzle that I figured out how to solve myself. I didn't search up any tutorials for it, and so I don't actually know the method to solve this. I just solve one side and then continue solving one side until it solves the whole cube, or the whole pyramid. So, and my other Pyraminx that I have back home is extremely bad. It is so loud and noisy to turn. You can hear the springs from next door. So I'm excited to hopefully get a better one. Then we've got this. So it doesn't have a translation here, but from what I could tell, it seemed like it's called the Wheel Cube or the Wheel of Fire or something like that. This translates to Fong, which is wind, Ho, which is fire, and this, I'm not sure exactly what that is. I think it's wheel. Pretty sure it's wheel. So yeah, gonna be exciting. And then we've got a Skewb. Never used a Skewb before. I think it's one of the easier puzzles, and the record is extremely quick. So I'm excited to try these. All right, let's get straight into it. So I'm going to start us off with the 3x3 and the 2x2. These are puzzles I know and can compare to other puzzles. Might leave solving the other cube shapes for another day. All right, so we've got that classic Chi color scheme, very bright. I love the distinctions. This side actually looks a bit more similar than it normally does. I'm not sure if maybe that's just the lighting, but this green and orange is a little bit hard to tell apart for me with my color blindness. However, this pink and blue is beautiful. It's great to be able to tell the difference between the green and the red/pink so easily. All right, let's do some first turns. All right, so as I expected, it is not very good. This was an extremely cheap cube, so I'm not going to be too harsh on the judgment, as if you are looking for a speed cube, this is probably not what you're going to go for. It looks extremely tight, and so there's basically 0 corner cutting, and reverse is probably even worse. So I'm going to see if I can loosen it a bit, and see what that does for the cube, because right now it is locking up a lot. All right, I got my trusty Leatherman, and now we're going to try and get this thing open. Because the cube is so tight already, to try and even get into the pieces is going to be a big struggle.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
All right, we finally got one side off. What probably doesn't help is that I recently cut my nails, so it's much harder to get a nail under the piece, but we're getting there. It's getting easier. All right, so we've loosened it. It's now extremely loose, definitely way too loose. This is going to be a huge popping hazard if you actually solved it like this. Interesting, while it's like this, let's check out what the core is like. All right, seems to be a pretty basic core. Let's check out the pieces. So we've got the normal torpedoes. Interestingly, here on the inside of this corner, we've got these little triangles. Let's see if I can try and get it to show up. There, we've got these little triangles, which is an interesting design. I haven't seen that before. It does have some of the corner cutting technology that we've seen on other pieces with these like dips in here. It's also got some anti-friction stripes. So it's not completely removed from the current technology. All right. So I've tightened it by 2 turns, so it's 2 turns looser than what it was out the box. All right, it still might be a bit too loose. We'll see. Yeah, it definitely feels very flimsy right now. Let's see what the corner cutting's like. All right, so corner cutting just can't do 45 degrees. So corner cutting is still fairly poor, especially reverse corner cutting. Can't even do that really. And this is still feeling very flimsy and loose. So I'm going to tighten it by another full turn and we'll see, because I just don't think corner cutting is ever going to be this cube's strong suit. So instead, let's keep it from falling apart mid-solve. All right, so corner cutting is definitely feeling rough. It's now not even doing less than 45, so it definitely is going to hinder solving a lot. But it doesn't feel like it's gonna fall apart in my hands, so I think we're gonna keep it at this for now. This is also the first non-magnetic cube I've used in a while, so it's very interesting, and seeing the pieces like stay misaligned like this. This is not happening on a magnetic cube because all of these would snap together. So it's very interesting dealing with that again. All right, so I'm getting a little bit more used to it. I've got to turn very accurately, but as long as I'm focusing on trying to make my turns accurate and not trying to corner cut, it's not feeling absolutely terrible. All right, so we're going to try some solves just for fun. Got the trusty timer. Now, these are both Qi, so we'll see if that somehow gives it a boost. We've got the Qi mat, the Qi timer, and the Qi cube. Finally, the full set. Let's see how it does. All right. Red can be set up, which I can use to set up. No. Blue is set up. Green. Okay. All right. I'm not going to look too long. Let's get started. Ooh, this green and orange is making me a bit confused. It's a bit too similar for my liking. $35. Okay, so looking pretty rough. All right, so as expected, that green and orange messed me up a little bit during the solve there. Thought it was flipped the other way around, and yeah, I did expect that. So I'm going to try talk through the solve, explain what I'm seeing, what I'm thinking. So white cross, we've got blue already set up, green is ready to be inserted, orange needs to go to the opposite, and our red is here. We do have this pair already set up. I wonder if there's a way that I can preserve that or even just insert it. So I'm going to try and preserve it as I do this cross. I'm not going to think about the cross too much. All right, so put in green, do this to preserve the pair, put the orange over and put it in. Then I'm going to put the last red piece in. Did preserve the pair, not in a great place, but it's fine. We insert that. Now I'm looking at this blue-orange pair. Put that in. I see this red-blue pair. Its corners here in the back. I take that out, insert this. I'm following this corner. However, the piece is in the spot misorientated. So we're going to take that out, rotate, pair that up. And we've got OLO and PLO. 37. Okay, not too bad, not too bad. Let's move on to the 2x2. So I'm not as well versed in 2x2 as I am in 3x3, so I'm not too sure what I like or not. It also seems quite tight. Let's try some turns. All right, already the turning does feel better than, oh, but here's a catch up. What is it catching on? I was gonna say the turning already feels better than the 3x3, but maybe that's just because I'm not as well versed in 2x2. I might end up loosening this a bit. I'll maybe mess around with it a bit more, see what I think of it, and then get back to you guys. So I've been messing around with it a little bit more. I loosened it all by one turn, and it might be a bit too flimsy for some people, but to me it feels much better. It feels much smoother to turn, and not that I was getting many lockups earlier, but it definitely feels like I'm not getting as many lockups now. So I'm not extremely good at 2x2. I solve it actually using the 3x3 method, and then just seeing what I can figure out along the way. So yeah, let's see how I do. Crazy that is still slower than some of my 3x3 solves. Let's try that again. All right, a little better. So opinions, I think for people that actually solve 2x2, this will probably not be great. I assume it has the same problems as the 3x3, where I think it would lock up if it's too tight, and if it's too loose, it might feel a bit flimsy. However, for me, who's not a 2x2 solver, this actually feels pretty nice, and it's not popping, which is already an improvement over my last cube. And yeah, it actually turns quite smoothly. I like it. 3x3, however, not as nice. It locks up quite a lot and makes any finger tricks fairly difficult. If you're turning accurately, then it's not that much of a problem. However, it's also quite loud. And if you don't turn accurately like there, it will just lock up. And because the layers don't align due to not having magnets, it makes it kind of difficult to do finger tricks. Still though, for the price, it's not a terrible option. Like if you're just really needing anything, I think the 2x2 is probably better for this price, because you can get something that's decent, and it's very hard to make a 2x2 too bad to use. 2x2s are fairly easy to make, so I'm sure this 2x2 will fit your needs, at least in the beginning. However, I would not recommend the 3x3. There are lots of cheap 3x3s that would probably perform better than this. I do have a review of another cheap 3x3 coming up, Sengshow, I think it's called. So I'll let you know what I think of that when I unbox it. But for now, we've got other things to unbox. Moving on, I'm going to unbox one more thing, and that's going to be the Pyraminx. It's another puzzle that I know how to solve but don't know the method for. So let's see how it goes. I am very happy with their choice of colors. The orange is normally what messes me up on these puzzles, so with this color scheme, so not having orange is quite the blessing. All right. Very clicky. It clicks into place. So if I'm turning and then get here, it clicks in and then has to click out, which makes it very similar actually to my own Pyraminx. You hear that spring noise? So while I'm scrambling it, I'm noticing it seems to want to do turns for me. So like I was just trying to hold it, and as I turn to the left, this right piece tried to turn, and it makes this piece feel like it wants to jump out here. So it feels a little flimsy. I think this is probably going to take me longer than the 2x2 or the 3x3. All right. Yeah, it's looking rough. But with no method, it's interesting. I think I can get a better time than that, though. It took me a little while to get back into remembering what my way of doing the Pyraminx was, because I haven't done this in forever. Oh yes, a sub 30. That feels good. All right, yeah, I like this. I think it'll definitely make me try Pyraminx a bit more. Not sure if I'll ever get into speed solving it, or if I'm just going to keep using my method, but it's definitely a lot more fun to turn now. But yeah, that was my review of these 3 Chi puzzles. So overall recommendations: 3x3 is a no-go. It locks up a lot, and no magnets makes it very hard to turn, and there's just so many 3x3s in the market. You can definitely find something in your price range. The 2x2, it's fine. It was very cheap, and I think it can definitely work as a 2x2. It's not too bad, and it feels quite nice to turn. Again, I'm not a 2x2 solver, but as a starter, I think it's fine. Pyraminx, I would not recommend this unless you are not planning to speed solve it. As a speed solving Pyraminx, would be very bad. It locks up a lot like this and will start doing turns you don't want it to do. However, if you're just looking to mess around, it does feel decent, and it's a nice color scheme. Alright guys, thanks you very much for watching. Keep tuned for the opening of other unboxings and a very exciting video of where I'm going to try and set up a very budget Rubik's Cube. I'm going to try and set it up as nicely as possible. I'm going to put in magnets, going to lube it, tension it myself, and we're going to see how good we can make it. So stay tuned for that. Stay positive and stay proud of yourself.